What is up, party people? Welcome to
Party
the
people.
Q&A.
What's
Good
up,
to have
y'all?
you guys all here.
How many people we got tonight? We got 100 people already.
We got 11 people in the chat.
What's
all
up, guys?
on YouTube. I love it.
That's so
Glad
cool.
to have you guys here today. Super glad to have you guys here today. Who's new? Who is this first time being here today? Can you let us know in the chat?
Boom.
Who
I
is
see
new?
Ryan.
Ryan, what's up, bro?
Good to have you here, man. Good to have you here.
Who's our people
Regulars.
who've been here before? I see Joel.
We got another
Jabs.
first time. Jabs, first
What's
time.
up, Jabs?
Jabs. This is your first time,
First
Jabs?
time.
I don't believe that.
Forced. I love it.
Yeah.
Jabs got some deals. He's been trying to tell me he's got deals. Right, Jabs?
Jabs has always got deals.
I heard they locked up like 7 this month.
Dang.
Jabs' team?
Way to go, Jabs.
Dang, Jabs. Amazing. Lock up those 7 deals in multifamily, bro. We're waiting for you.
For real.
He only needs one, dude.
Oh, Miles is in the house. What's up, Miles?
Hey, Miles.
Braulio,
Good to
what's
see you
up, bro? Malcolm, good to have you here.
Look at all
Al,
these
first-timer.
YouTubers.
Everyone's on YouTube. Let's
I
go.
love it.
Let's go, my guys.
Like literally all of them are on YouTube.
Guys.
This is fun.
Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and invite some other people. Invite other people here. It's all about multifamily tonight. If you guys have any questions, we're here to help. I know, just to introduce ourselves, my name is Oscar, for you first-timers here. My girlfriend, Ione, is typically the one that runs the business with me, or in the team, whatever you want to call it.
We're a team of 3 couples. That's what Oscar's trying to say.
A team of 3 couples.
Yes.
And I take care of a lot of the deal structure and raising capital for multifamily alongside with Myron. And well, yeah, go ahead, Myron.
No, I was just waving hi. Go ahead.
And so it's a team of 6 of us, 3 couples, like Joseph said. Every which one of us has a role that we play in what we do in multifamily. And the way it kind of all started too was just like we all wanted to get into multifamily, but we really didn't know what we were doing at the beginning. But we figured it out, still figuring some stuff out. And we stayed consistent. We kept working at it. We decided our goals aligned and let's get together and do this as a team. And that's how it all started. And from there on, it's been a journey for all of us here. And we've grown so much, guys, like just in the past 6-7 months that we've been doing this, like 30 units, first 4 months that we were into this. And then a couple months later, we're right now under contract with 40 units. But before we get into that, Myron, Carolyn, go for it. Tell the people who you guys are.
I'm Myron.
I'm Carolyn. I'm
Carolyn is the super visionary.
Yes, I am.
Very visual oriented. I'll talk about myself. How about that? Sorry.
I'm like, you can obviously tell he's analytical.
Anyways, yeah, I work alongside Oscar. We do deal structuring together, raising capital. Joseph and I have been building a CRM. We love what we do and we love creative deals. And so, we went from single family and moved those creative deals over to multifamily. And, our first 2 deals are all seller financed. Check out my shirt. It says seller finance. It doesn't, but it will. There will be a day where that's true.
It's coming.
And doing multifamily creative has really opened our eyes to what's possible out there. And so love it. We just took all the knowledge we have from single family and multiplied it by 40. We looked at 1,000 units a couple weeks back, just all in the same week. and it's kicking butt. We love it.
Amazing. Yeah, we need to get our seller finance gear. We talk about it every single time we're on here, but it's coming. Our merch is coming. $1 million upside merch. Oh my God. That's fun. I am one of the visionaries alongside KJ and Oscar. Do a lot of the broker outreach, a lot of the upfront relationships, investor relationships, seller relationships, sourcing deals, lead generation, social media stuff. KJ and I work closely with that. If you're getting text blasts, if you're getting emails or information, that is a combined effort between KJ and I. So please love us for that. Yeah. That's where we're at.
Yeah. And I'm Joseph. My other half, KJ, is over in the other room. We're having a lot of difficulties with internet today for whatever reason. Like I don't even know how I'm on here. So if I crash out, it's my internet. But I am one of the integrators on the team alongside Ione and Myron. I do underwriting and asset management. I also talk with lenders when that comes up as a necessity. That's just the surface of what we do. There's a whole lot more. Our team is very good at something needs to get done. We do it, we make it happen. And that's just general rules that we've placed ourselves into so that way there's some structure. So let's get it going with some questions, guys. I see one in the chat already from Al, but
this is a great question.
This live is all about you guys getting questions answered. So whatever the question is, whether it's day one questions or day 1,000, you've been doing this forever, hit us with questions. If you can stump us, that's fantastic because we're only going to be forced to get better. And that's, one of the reasons we like doing this is because the last time we were stumped on 2 questions and it was something we'd never come across. So it's really good to get those other ideas and perspectives and for us to be able to grow, but at the same time being able to give back value to you guys in any which way that we can. So let's go ahead and get Al's question up here. Let's see. Al Dominguez says, what is cap rate and what cap rate do you typically aim for? Thanks. So let's start with the first half. Cap rate is just a ratio of purchase price and NOI. So NOI is your net operating income, and short and sweet, that's the money that the property produces after all expenses are taken into account. That's what NOI is. So cap rate is the proportion or the ratio between NOI and purchase price. Example, let's say your purchase price is $1 million, right? I'll say your purchase price is $1 million.
Let's do that deal.
And the cap rate, for good example, we'll do 5% cap rate. So that would make, there you go, 5% cap rate. So that would make your NOI $50,000. All that means is that 5% of the purchase price or the value of the property, let's say the value is $1 million. So 5% of that is 50,000. Your property is producing 50,000 and it's being valued at a cap rate of 5%. That means your purchase price is $1 million. All it is the ratio. You mix and match it. It's how you can figure out what a property is worth, how you can figure out how much the property is producing. And cap rates are similar to ARVs and opinions. Everyone has different ones and they all do it differently. So it's kind of hard to explain when you don't really know much about it. But I hope that was valuable and explained it a little bit.
Can you explain it in one sentence?
Yes. Cap rate is the ratio between cap rate is the proportion of income to valuation. That's what cap rate is.
Nice.
All right, next one. Oh, wait, the second part of his question, I'm sorry. What cap rate do you typically aim for? That depends on what asset you're looking at and what market you're in. So for us, we like Texas markets. That's primarily where we're at, and we'll use that as the example. Class A's, typically you're seeing low 4s to 5. It's not usually over 5 for a cap rate on Class A's. Class B, 4.5 to 5.5 is the highest you would see. And then Class C, anywhere like 5.25 is really good, all the way up to high 6s.
What's the cap rate of the deal we're doing right now?
I'm sorry?
What's the cap rate of the deal we're doing right now in Knoxville?
Knoxville. So we are buying it at a cap rate of 6.3.
Oh, 6.3. Okay.
So
Yeah, it used to be 6.9, but we changed a bunch of numbers, and now we're buying it at a 6.3.
So if we're buying it at 6.3 and the market on C class, it depends on where it is, right? But you said market on C class is like a 5.25.
At best, yeah. So that's when you've finished it, it's renovated, done, ready to go, put it back on the market. 5.25 is the best you could probably hope to see.
So you want to buy it at a higher cap rate than you sell it at a lower cap rate.
Yeah, actually, that's a good example of how we can explain it, right? So the property is producing X amount of dollars, right? We'll say 150. It really doesn't matter. So the property, we know what the property is producing, and we know what the seller is asking. So based on that, we figure out what the cap rate is based on what it's producing and what they're asking, and that's the cap rate that they're using to value their property.
Got it.
I hope that it helps.
Yes.
It probably made it more confusing, but welcome to multifamily.
I think it helps for people to understand like the asset class and the cap rate that is associated with that asset class. Like what is the potential value add cap rate percentage that it lands at once you do all of your value add or your renovations or whatever it is. Like what is the cap rate at the exit strategy, right? Like there needs to be a definition or, well, not a definite, like a defined percentage for that asset class to fall into in order for it to be profitable.
Yeah, and here's another thing that I've seen people that don't necessarily, know what they're doing. And the reason I know that they don't know what they're doing is because they've sent us Class C building and the cap rate was at 1%. Like there is no way that is even possible. Where
was that?
I'm sorry?
Where was that?
Probably Florida.
I don't remember. I don't remember. We saw that and I was like, yeah, this is not a deal. Because it was and the reason I know that is because I put it in my little napkin underwriting formula. They said, hey, this is the price, this is the purchase price, this is what we're selling it at, this is the NOI, right? So I took the NOI and I divided it by the purchase price or their asking price, and it gives me a decimal, and I convert it to a percentage, right?
Yeah.
But the number that it gave me was 1.something%, and I know that Class C is not going to be at 1% cap rate. So I knew immediately that this person didn't know what they were doing, and this is not a deal. Don't waste my time.
I wonder, I might be talking over maybe a couple people's head on that, but I wonder if it was from a wholesaler just adding $1 million or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
I think it's really good, just like what Joseph said, to understand like right off the bat, you can pretty much tell if if it has potential, if they're like totally off the mark on what they're sending you, is that the lower the class, the potentially higher the cap rate it should be. And the higher the class, the potentially lower the cap rate could be. Like there's within range there, but it will be lower the higher the class, and higher the lower the class. Oh my god, that's
See,
confusing.
it gets confusing once you start talking about all this
Confusing
stuff.
to say.
Yeah. And Joseph, I think it would be helpful. I know you cover this on the underwriting Zoom, but just to give them a little snippet of an example of what $100 increase can do.
Okay.
So if we do, let's say 50 units, $100 increase. Do a quick multifamily math so people can see what you're talking about as an example.
Okay. And say what, 5% cap?
Yeah, 5% is okay. But let's just say that we have a 50 unit deal that we're looking at, and Joseph and Elioni, the good underwriters that they are, they know that they can increase the rents by at least $100. Go ahead, Joseph.
It would give us $1.2 million in additional valuation to the property.
Okay. So how did you get that math?
So here, I'll actually just show it to you, right? So
Yeah.
$100 times 50 times
$100
12.
being the rent increase that he can do, times the amount of units.
$100 times the number of units, which is 50, and then times 12, the number of months. And you can take into account occupancy rate, but I didn't, just for the sake of the example, make it simpler. So that number is the extra income for the year, right? So by adding $60,000 worth of income to the year, to their property, to your total NOI, and we'll say it was at a 5% cap rate. So you're going to divide it by your cap rate, and that gives you 1.2 million of extra value. So when you go to sell the property, you just added an extra $1.2 million to your pocket from selling it. Well, to you and all your investors. That's why we like multifamily.
And this is why we love multifamily. Just $100 increase added $1.2 million to your evaluation to the property. That's amazing. That's why we only shoot for 50 units and above. Well, we may even be shooting for that for 100 units and above now here in a little bit.
Yeah, KJ just talked to a broker earlier today, and she's like, from now on, I only want to see 100 plus. I don't want these small deals anymore. It's crazy. It's crazy because that did not used to be a small deal for us.
Yeah.
Anything over 5 was still a good amount. It was a big deal for us.
Yeah. And to put it in perspective, guys, before when we first started working in multifamily, we were just kind of shooting in the dark, right? We were just looking for a deal. That's all we were doing. We had no idea what we were doing. We're just like, let's find a deal. But until we found out what the $1 million math looks like or looked like, then we no longer were looking for any deal. We were looking for a deal that had a minimum of $1 million in upside. And so that example that we just gave right now, we would be interested in doing a deal like that because it's got $1 million in upside.
Just in the rent. That's not including pet fees, if there's laundry or any of these other things that you can do.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Cool. And if you want to learn more about underwriting, I think we're doing one this Friday, right, Joseph?
Yeah, we'll do one this Friday.
So if you have questions about the math that Joseph just did, we'll go into detail on Friday so you can learn more. And we may even bring an example of like what actual deep dive underwrite. I'm not sure. We'll let you guys know, but we for sure will dive into that math a lot more in detail on Friday.
Oh yeah. All right. Next question from Joelle: syndication versus JV/partnerships. What are regulations we have to watch out for, and how to make sure our investors get paid ethically?
Okay. Before we answer this question, I'll let Myron answer it. But before we do, disclaimer, we are not attorneys, financial advisors, or CPAs. So these questions will be just from our previous experience and deals that we've done. But if you have technical questions, please seek legal advice from someone else, from an attorney. Go ahead, Myron.
Disclaimer banner.
Joel, thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for showing up every time we do a live, and we love you, man. So I'm going to start with the JV. A JV partnership would be, for instance, that you find a deal and we're like, our team and you are going to put the money together. We have the money in our bank and we're going to take down that property on our own. We're not having to really raise the money to go out. We're not going outside of our group to find the money. So that's kind of a JV partnership. A syndication, there's several different types of syndications. I'm gonna keep it short. It's basically when you are raising the money either from friends and family or through accredited investors, where you can, I get so scary like answering these questions because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. And like Oscar says, you want to talk to a lawyer. So what we did is when we got our deal, we went straight to a lawyer. How are we going to do this? And he helped us, right? But there are ways you can promote deals. You know, you see those people on Facebook saying, hey, I need $1 million to do my deal. Don't be that clown and be posting, you know, you're looking for money unless you have the lawyer backing you up and saying you can do that. Did you get that? Am I on record? Okay. You know,
you are live.
Yeah. Syndication is where you're looking for money outside of your team, and JV is where your team brings it together, basically. And what are the regulations we have to watch out for, and how to make sure our investors are getting paid ethically? Regulations. So yes. So like I said, you don't want to be taking money from grandma, basically, and getting in trouble, right? You don't want to just meet somebody at an event and take their money. You want to know who you're with. I mean, overall, these are millions of dollars, so you want to know who you're working with. But how do you make sure your investors get paid ethically? What is he referring to? I mean, I guess you can do the split how you want to do the split, but we typically do, I think starting out, you can do an 80-20 split or a 70-30 split. Maybe that's what you mean, Joel, but ethically, we're not just taking their money and giving them small returns. We're going to do something that will give them great returns. So if you do a deal with us, we're going to give you better returns. And okay, no, I just like started grabbing for money. So got to watch out what you say, but I'm rambling on. What do y'all think he's talking about ethically?
Yeah, I think so. There's two things that I think of when you, and maybe ethically is not the right word, but I think the way we pay out our investors is quarterly distributions.
Yes.
Okay? So quarterly distributions is how we pay them out, and it's all done through, again, consult an attorney, but it's all structured out in a organizational chart or corporate structure, the way they get paid out to, right? And everything can be structured differently. So, you know, you definitely want to consult with an attorney. But that's typically how they get paid out, is quarterly distributions, and it's structured in a way where it's everyone's protected. That's what I got.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And all that stuff is put together before you close on the deal. You work out percentages and everything. Everything's on paper. It's included in all of the closing documents. It's on paper. And you just structure it.
Let's clarify a little bit further about the 70-30 and the 80-20 splits. where in your beginning deals and you're getting ramped up and experience under your belt, that 70% is going to your limited partners.
Correct.
It's not going to the general partners.
Carolyn,
right?
what is a general partner and what is a limited partner?
A limited partner is your passive investor. You're someone who's bringing that capital in, where your general partner are like us four, like the six of us rather. I'm saying us four because we're all here on the screen, but like the team, we source the deal, we're managing the asset, we're boots on the ground, we're all the like moving parts of the deal, we're the active roles in the deal, we are the general partners. The limited partners are the passive investors who just want to give us their money and get the amazing returns at the end of the deal, so.
Watch it grow.
Yeah. So when you're starting out, those splits look like 80-20 or 70-30. That 70 or that 80% is for your limited partners, not the general partners. So I think it's important to remember, I think even our mentors, Carlos was even saying, like, you want to make sure that deal is setting up your investors for success. Like, that is your main priority in these deals, especially when you're raising money and taking on other people's money into these deals. You want to make sure that they're going to have a successful exit, whatever that might be. It's their money that is your highest priority. Like, if you can make someone else way more money, you're going to make money no matter what, right? So it's not just, yeah, we love to make money and we get an acquisition fee and everything like that, but your main priority should be serving and providing value to your limited partners coming into the deal.
Dang. Good stuff, guys. Carolyn, dang, that was good. Yeah.
Thanks.
Bringing the heat tonight.
I know.
Fire's in the chat.
We got Ryan. Ryan, how are you guys structuring deals between each other? What about your lenders? Oscar, you answer this one, but Ryan, I'm not sure what you mean about the second question. So while Oscar is answering the first question, clarify what you mean on the second part.
So I'm assuming you mean by the GPs, what you mean by between each other, right? So all that conversation happened before we got the deal. So we all had a talk already. And this is one of the talks that you'll have to have if you're going to be part of a deal, is what are the splits going to look like between you guys? So that's all dependent on the role as well, and also on your team, whoever's a part of your team, right? So for us, we had already discussed what our roles are going to be, what are we going to take care of, and what our splits are going to look like. Obviously, right, when you're structuring a deal, like Carolyn said, 70-30, 80-20, right? You have to figure that out too, because you want to know what you're going to give your investors first before you're over here trying to take all the equity, right? Because you got to take care of your investors first. And we found that out the hard way, right?
We sure did.
Lots of feedback because we were like, man, we brought this amazing deal, and then we started presenting and we're like, okay, maybe that's not how it works, right? So I think the better question, Ryan, is instead of asking like, how do you structure, it's a great question to ask, but if you're new and you're trying to get into a deal, I wouldn't necessarily ask, hey, what's my cut gonna be? I would probably go and approach it like, hey, what can I do? What would it take for me to be part of this deal? I don't care what it is. I just want to be part of the deal. Start it off that way. That way you can get your foot in the door and do something. And typically the way most new people start is they find the deal, and then second is their boots on the ground. That's typically your first way into getting into a deal. You have to add value too. You can't just say, I found the deal, I expect 20% of the equity. It doesn't work that way. Right? So you have to make sure you add value. So I would say when we had that conversation, like I mentioned earlier, Ryan, all of us as a team, we all came together and said, here's what the deal looks like. Here's what we can do. Let's discuss splits. We did it. Cool. Don't forget about our investors because they're the most important here. And then we went from there. I don't know what you mean by what about lenders. The lenders don't get part of the deal, but they are very important because they do. That's the majority of your deal if you're going through a lender. So it's important to have a good lender on your side as well, or lenders. But yeah,
Love it.
And I
Great
saw
question.
him. He said that we answered the lenders portion with what Carolyn said on the previous question.
Cool.
He was just talking about how they get structured into the deal. All right, next one. We got.
Hold on, though. Hold on. Because I just have to say, thank you, Vina, for coming to our freaking live.
Hi, Vina.
This is amazing. If
got
y'all don't
super
know, Vina
accountability.
is the multifamily master. She's amazing. She's in the DFW too. We will be seeing her tomorrow. A lot of you are coming out to the DFW meetup. She's gracing us with her presence. So we are so excited to have you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting.
Subscribe to her YouTube.
amazing. Thank you, Vina. I can't wait to meet you tomorrow. We'll be at the DFW meetup.
I know you guys are tempting me to drive out there.
Okay, sorry. Had to hand that
All
out.
good. Yeah, definitely worth it. Glad to have you here. All right, Malcolm. I see a potential multi-unit deal. Should I try and raise capital, or should I try and structure creative terms and lock it up to wholesale? Depends on what your goal is with this deal. And first and foremost, if they haven't even said that they're open to some kind of creative, I would not try and structure it first. I would talk to them. What we do is we figure out ballpark where we might be at first. We'll do our napkin underwriting, and we can go through that further on Friday, but we'll do our napkin underwrite, figure out ballpark where we might need to be at. And then if we're in the same playing field, then here's our potential cash. Here's where we might be on cash. Are they open to seller finance? Do they have an assumable loan? Can we assume the loan and pay the rest? And these are questions we're asking the broker and or the seller if possible. And if there's an inkling that they might be open to it, then what we want to do is hop on the phone with them and start talking to them directly, because we don't want to spend all this time underwriting to a deal that's probably not even a possibility that they're not open to, right? We want to get on the phone with them and see if this is something that we could work out together. Hey, Mr. Seller, I know you said you're open to doing something creatively, but what kind of terms were you looking for? Like, what's most important for you in this deal? Like, is it just the purchase price? As long as you get the right price, everything else doesn't matter. Is it, I want to get a certain monthly payment? Is it, I just want this much down and the rest we can work out? And then once we figure out what there is important, then we start playing with the other levers to see how it makes sense for us. Because if it doesn't make sense for the seller in the first place, I mean, there's no point in the seller doing it, right? It's not a deal for him. Then it's definitely not a deal for us because we can't get it from him. So that's what I would do first. Definitely start trying to figure that out if you're going to go anything down the creative road. And then as far as capital, trying to raise the capital, you definitely need to structure the deal first in a way that you know how you're going to close on the deal. You know what plan it is. I wouldn't try, you should always be trying to raise capital just in general, making yourself known as someone that's doing multifamily, someone that can put other people's money to work. But specifically for this deal, like, hey, I've got this deal, right? I wouldn't start saying any specifics until you actually have a contract, or at least an accepted LOI at bare minimum. But I would want to have the contract before I start taking, and you need to have your LLCs and all these other accounts set up before you actually take any dollars from them at all. So consult an attorney.
Yes, consult an attorney.
Can I give one little thing?
Definitely, yeah.
Malcolm, go structure it creative, lock it up, leave the wholesale part out, raise capital, and do the deal.
Definitely.
Bring it to us.
Yeah, I was going to say, bring it to us. If it's creative, we'd be interested for sure.
Yeah. So Malcolm, I mean, you can wholesale it, but man, we're all trying to, we've been talking about this every morning, is what are our goals? What what are our visions, you know, and they're all aligning. Every day we talk about these things and we just see them aligning. And what do you want to do this for? We all want freedom. We want to get our time back. We want all those things, and get the deal, man. Let's do it. Let's do the deal. That's all I wanted to say.
Love it. All right, let me figure out where I was. Okay, Sean Baxter. On running your numbers, do you take the down payment off and that will give you the right cap rate? I'm not entirely sure what you mean here.
No, the down payment is included because that's capital you're having to put into the deal.
Yeah. It's towards the purchase price. Yeah, your down payment is part of your total purchase price. So that was an easy one.
I love all these questions.
Okay, Braulio. On the seller finance deals, were they off market? And if so, can you do a simple breakdown of how it all came to be? Oscar, this one's up your alley, brother.
On the seller finance deals, were they off market? And if so, can you do a simple breakdown on how? The first one, yes, it was off market. But here's the thing, Braulio. When this deal was brought to us, this deal came to us, by the way, by other people who also just saw us doing a bunch of stuff, and they were like, hey, you know what? Let me bring it to them and see if they can help us. But to be completely honest, Braulio, we didn't really know what the heck we were doing either when it came to us. And also, Braulio, when this deal came to us, the one that I'm talking about, the very first one, they didn't even have the financials for this deal. Myron, do you remember when they brought us this deal, the financials, how they presented it to us?
I don't, but I actually think it was on like the back of an envelope in pencil. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was incomplete, and it was just not even like a PDF or anything. It was just on the back of a piece of paper. And so we had to go in there and basically structure this deal ourselves and underwrite it the best that we could. So there was a lot of work to do on a deal that we had no idea what we were doing, but we were able to figure it out because we were learning alongside everything that we needed to do for figuring out underwriting. Ione and Joseph spent hours underwriting this deal on assumptions because we had no information on it, right? But
Yeah.
what we really okay, there's two things that we found out. One, we underwrote it on assumptions, and we came up with a cash offer. Obviously, the cash offer was a lot less than what the seller was asking, but that's because we were missing information. Or second is we can offer something closer to what he's asking, but we would have to do it on seller finance. And so our option was, let's just get on the phone with this guy because we don't know what the heck we're doing and we're going through people. So why don't we just get on the phone and talk to this guy? So we ended up getting on a Zoom call. It was Myron, myself, our other partner, Sandra, and the husband and wife. And they were on a call with us. And it was cool because before that, Braulio, before we had that call, like 5 minutes before, I had this like weird feeling or whatever you want to call it. And I was like, I got to call my boy Myron and get him on this call. I don't know what told me that, but you can ask Ione. We're like 5 minutes away from getting home. And it was like 5 minutes before the meeting. And I was like, Myron, I don't know what. I feel like I need you to be on this call. I don't know if you remember that, Myron.
Oh, yeah, I do. I will never forget it, honestly.
I was like, bro, I need you to be on this call.
It was like pouring rain. We were in Arizona. Myron was like pacing around a house at our Airbnb. We were waiting to get in our Airbnb. We just arrived for the mastermind for Pace. It was like, what is going on? Yeah. Anyway.
No, yeah.
Just for some visuals.
Exactly. And so I call Myron and I'm like, dude, I need you on the phone. And he goes, okay, you got it. I'll be there. And we get on the Zoom call with the seller, and it's all five of us. I mean, all five of us. And the seller's explaining to us, everything that he's done, his story, blah, blah, blah. And we get to the point where he's like, okay, here's what I really want. I really want to be able to not basically mitigate his taxes is what he's saying. I want to be able to mitigate my taxes. And for me, the seller saying, for me, my best scenario would be to seller finance these properties. And if you guys have been watching us for a while, you know that seller finance is Myron's jam. Something went off. And Myron's already thinking. Because then Myron was like, awesome. Myron, go ahead and tell your part of the story.
He's like, why don't you seller finance this to us? He's like, I want to. I'm like, okay, what terms do you want? He's like, oh, I want $500,000 down. It's a $3 million property. Actually, I'm sorry. It was 2.6 at that point because we had talked him down. And I want 7% interest on 20 years. I think he says something like that. And I was like, well, Oscar, what did we just do in San Marcos? We just did like a 280 unit in San Marcos. And it was 50 years at 3%. How can I get you to 3%? And he's like, well, 7% is going great. I mean, if you look at the trend, it's going to be at 7% in no time. By the time we close this deal, it will be at 7% interest. And I can't remember, somebody else said something and he goes, you know what? Okay, this is how we get to 3%. Well, and I'll do a 50-year note, but we go up to $3 million, but I want $500,000 down. And like, there was an eruption of noise on the Zoom. Like people started like yelling and throwing stuff and flipping tables and stuff. I don't know what was happening, but I was like, hold on a second. Let's make sure this underwrites. Let's make sure we cash flow because that's really what we want. We want cash flow. We want a performing asset. And so he said, okay. And we hung up the Zoom and we got back on the phone and we were like, just like screaming at each other. Like, I can't believe that happened.
Wait, let me rewind, Myron.
Oh, sorry.
You said something that I think a lot of people need to hear. You said you don't remember what it was to get him to say, okay, you want seller finance and let's do this, this, and that. You were the one who asked, bro. You don't even remember. You were the one who asked, how can we get to 3%? That's what you said.
Yeah.
How can we get to 3%? And then that's when he said, purchase price is $3 million or whatever, 3%, blah, blah, blah. That was some loud thunder, by the way.
We got some thunder going on over here, y'all.
Seller finance.
I thought you were jamming, bro. I had no idea what that was.
Seller finance brings the thunder.
That's how Myron was. He was like thunder whenever that happened. Anyway, that's what happened. And Braulio, to answer your question, like we got that deal simply because we got on the phone with the seller, and second, we asked. That's what it comes down to. We asked. And so that's how we were able to start underwriting the deal and blah, 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 do it a bunch of stuff, but we were able to negotiate fantastic terms. And it got even better after that. Like I interrupted Myron because he had more things that he negotiated after. He negotiated the initial one without even him knowing, right? He's like, I told him after, I was like, bro, you closed that deal. You're a closer. Well, he didn't look at it that way. He was like, I just asked a question.
He was floating after that.
I was on another planet by the end of that call.
We had a couple follow-up questions on the side chat while you were explaining that story, Myron and Oscar. Can you explain the tax benefit, what seller finance does for investor taxes?
Okay. Again, we are not CPAs, so I just got to put that out there, disclaimer, right? Tax benefits for someone who's doing seller finance, it's pretty simple. Let's put it this way, whoever Facebook user is.
That's Ingrid.
Ingrid, if you were to get let's say you were selling a property and you want $5 million for it, cash, and someone gives you $5 million cash, do you think Uncle Sam's going to want their cut? Probably. Actually, the answer is yes, they will.
The answer is or else.
100%.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much, but it's a lot. You're going to have to pay a lot. And so the way sellers can mitigate taxes is by doing seller finance. How about we give them $5 million, but we do it on terms? And so they only get taxed on the money that they earn. So if they make X amount a year, blah blah blah, then that's the only thing that they're going to get taxed on. But if they get a cash offer at 5 million, they're going to get a lump sum of taxes taken away from that, right? So how do you mitigate that? You do seller finance. And sellers in multifamily, here's the key that a lot of people who are listening, seller finance in multifamily is very common, and sellers understand it. That's the beauty. It's not like single family where most of them don't understand or heard of it, where you have to educate them. In multifamily, they're already some sort of investor already. So they understand seller finance. You just have to come up with terms that work for both of you. So you already have an advantage to going into multifamily. So that's why we love multifamily, because we don't have to educate the sellers. We just have to negotiate. And that's it. So that's how you can mitigate taxes for a seller, unless someone else has anything else to add on there.
Well, it's deferred, right? So
like income taxes.
Yeah.
Capital.
It's and you can do some creative stuff like interest only payments and things like that. But you can, like Oscar was saying, you do seller finance. There's not much to battle for that year, right? So it's a down payment. If they go buy that much property, they can kind of nice.
Chef KJ in the house.
A whole meal, dang.
Bro, chefed it up. Like, hang on, need you guys to zoom in on this slider. Hopefully, I don't get on my computer.
What in the world? This is going to turn into Joseph's food blog here in 1 second. Sorry, y'all.
Live mukbang.
Can I order? Yeah, Ryan goes, can I order food?
Yes, Ryan. Go ahead and place your order. But yeah, seller finance has many benefits, all like seller and buyer, right?
We love it. That's how we want to do our whole portfolio, right? Creative.
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome. If we can do that, that'd be badass.
Are loan assumptions considered creative?
Definitely. It's a sub two, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, a sub two.
Let's do it.
Jason says, where can I find descriptions for classes? Is there a standard? Can T12s validate cap rates? So I would say, I don't know if there is a description out there.
I think in one of our initial PDFs, I think Oscar and we actually worked on this in the very, very beginning. In our PDFs, you go to our $1 Million Upside group, Jason, and in the feature tab, you're going to see multifamily resources, where it'll have like an outreach script, and then it will have a little bit of a glossary or definitions of just the very basic terminology that you need to be aware of and understand. And I think we actually broke down what Class A, Class B, Class C look like in general. So check there, but go ahead, Joseph.
Yeah, I'll tell you a general idea, right? And this is a guideline, not absolute. So, use it for what you will. But the biggest thing is the age of the building. It's usually based on age. Some other factors affect it, like the actual physical looks of it, as well as location. But just based on age, you can use this as a guideline, right? So Class A are your new builds. So anything that's brand new, and we'll say, we'll say at least 10 years or newer, right? Typically, it's probably a little newer than that, maybe more like 5 or newer, but we'll just use a basic guideline of 10 or newer. Class B, 10 years to 20 years, in that range. They're good looking buildings, they're in good areas, they're just not brand new. And then you have your Class C's, which are your older buildings, and we'll say 20 years plus for Class C's. And again, guideline, not absolute. There is multiple exceptions to that, but you could kind of just outside look, high level looking in, you could use that to kind of base it off of. But your Class A's, your brand new buildings, your new builds, your nicest of the nice, all your luxury type apartments. Then you have your Class B, which is, still good. They look clean. It's not, ghetto. It's not low income. There's nothing like that. Then your Class C is usually your lower income or lower income areas. Typically, they're your value add property, a little bit more work, and that's a good basic guideline to go by. And then, can T12s validate cap rates? So your T12s, I wouldn't necessarily they have to do with the cap rate. So what your T12s is your profit and loss. The T12 is trailing 12 months. So it's the last snapshot of the last 12 months of income and expenses for the property. And you use that to underwrite and figure out what the property is doing. And you use it to find questions about the property, figure out maybe problem areas. And I wouldn't say it's, and I was going to take this on, I don't remember where I was going to take it. It wouldn't validate your cap rate. Your cap rate is, whatever you pay, that's the cap rate that you're coming in at, right? So in a way, I guess it could, because it's going to tell you where you should pay at based on what I see in the T12s and what I know I can do to the property. My purchase price is going to be this, right? And that, whatever your purchase price is compared to your income, your NOI, that's what your cap rate is going to be. It's not. So in a way, yes, but no. So, and I don't know how to explain that any better. Cap rate is a very confusing thing from the outside looking at. It really is. And you won't really know until you start dealing with it and working with it more often that you'll get comfortable with it and understand what it is. And I promise I knew literally nothing about it. And now I understand it in the heart of my soul, but like explaining it, it's very difficult to do.
To put it in perspective, guys, when Joseph and KJ first came to me to ask about multifamily, Joseph did not know what a T12 was, and he didn't know what a rent roll and an offering memorandum was either. Fast forward 6-7 months now, he's the underwriter with Ione, and they both look at T12s and rent rolls all day.
All day.
They eat T12s for breakfast.
Gotta love my numbers.
It's like a vitamin. It's called like a T, like your B12. Well, they take a T12.
Nice.
That's funny.
I had to make my silly jokes.
You got to. It keeps it lively. Here's a quick one for you guys while I look for another.
Joel asks, if Napkin underwrites at 10 million and the asking is 12 million, is this a no-go? Can we negotiate terms to make it work or just ignore it?
Offer 8 million.
He's savage. I would say do it, man. It's not that far off. You're 2 million off. It's not that far off because they're obviously going to ask for the best they can. That doesn't mean that's what they're going to get. But if your napkin underwriting says, well, we're close to 10, then you guys are not far off. I would try and figure out how you can make that work. That was something I would move forward on. So I would definitely start trying to negotiate terms, whatever that may be. Figure out, can we do this creative? What can I purchase at cash? This is one I would look further into.
Yeah. So Joel, call the broker and ask what their whisper price is and see, it may be even lower. So I wouldn't put a $10 million LOI in front of them, which would be a letter of intent. I wouldn't do that. Like, call the broker and get information. Cool.
Agreed.
Build those relationships. And Braulio with these awesome questions.
Braulio, what are some value add examples? Laundry, fire pits, weight rooms, lobby, or what type is best? Or do any of these do anything? Oh man, Braulio.
Fire question.
You're right, Carolyn.
Fire
question.
What, babe?
I haven't seen fire pits before. Oh, wait.
I know. I haven't seen fire pits either.
No, I have. I'm sorry, I have. Like you'll go up on the deck with the infinity pool and you turn on the fire pit.
Yeah.
Like the hotel you're going to buy me?
What's that?
Selective hearing.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So some examples would be laundry. For example, we were looking at a Class C property in West Texas a while back, and they had no laundry facility in that particular property. And one of the suggestions or recommendations was to convert this area that they had as storage into a laundry facility, because none of the units have laundry and dryer connections inside, and there was no laundry area on site. So they had to go to a laundromat like down the street and go wash their clothes and dry their clothes over there. So you could imagine living in a place like that where you have no laundry, you have to go somewhere off site to go do your laundry. That can be people might not want to live there because of that, right? It's just an extra step, an extra hassle. So that was one of the things that they were having trouble by keeping tenants, because tenants knew that if they lived there, they had to go do laundry somewhere else. So that wasn't attractive to them. So a value add could be adding laundry on site, whether it's a little laundry area or, if it calls for it, budgeting in your CapEx to add laundry and dryer connections, or washer and dryer connections, inside your units. Fire pits, I would say it'd be probably like a nicer class asset if you're going to put a fire pit in there, because you have to also think about if it's like the area, right? You don't want no hoodlums coming over and messing with your amenities, right? So you have to keep that in mind as well. Weight rooms, it is attractive to have a some sort of gym. It also brings in people because they don't have to go drive off site. They have a gym there they can just walk to. A lobby, yes, a lobby is good too. Maybe you can host some stuff there at the lobby, have engagement from your community, or have it as a rented space that they can do stuff in there as well. So all those things do come as a value add opportunity that you can do if it calls for it, right? You don't want to put a fire pit in a property that's no one else is doing a fire pit, and maybe it's not the best area, right? But I think laundry is something that can definitely be looked at from just about every class, asset class out there, for sure.
Definitely. So anything that would increase the attraction to live there or the quality of life at the property, whether or not it's going to actually like produce income, is still a value add. Because if you're adding all these extra amenities, well, then you probably are able to raise the rents now and charge more. So that is your value add. By putting in all these things, now I can add another $50 to everybody's rent. That's the value add.
Love it.
How to bring this statement out. Had a broker reach out today and sent me a deal. I know y'all walked last week in Houston. That's G-shit. I love it. I love it.
Nice.
We walked that deal last week.
We're on the prowl.
He probably saw I did an Instagram live at one of them.
Love it. Isn't that hilarious?
Nice. Okay.
Ooh, look at this. Vina just said pest control. I haven't necessarily taken into consideration pest control. Have we gone over that before? Pest control? Ooh,
you can charge monthly for it. Like, hey, we're going to be having pest control come by once a month. It's going to be an extra $5 on top of your monthly bill.
Got it.
It's similar to like the valet trash, and like all these examples are really good stuff that you could definitely put in there.
Pest control is the easiest, she says. Okay, that's amazing.
And there's another one that we've seen, a credit builder. So it's all it is now every time that the tenant pays their bill on time, that you're recording that on-time payment to the credit agencies. So it increases their credit. It builds their credit, and you can charge for that one.
Man, Vina, what value add. Thank you so much for putting that in the chat. Guys, if you didn't get that, you should be writing that down. Because it took us a good couple of months to figure that out. So she's giving it to you guys for free.
For real, dropping knowledge. Here's a question from Ryan. I've heard you guys talk about why you do 40 plus units, but would you discourage people starting out in multi from working on 10 to 30 units to start? What do you think?
Go ahead, Myron. I see you, bro. I see you.
I was about to say
We're all like brewing on the question.
Well, you know, honestly, if I had a 10 unit that was like right by my house and I plan to buy more in that area, I would do it. Because if you plan to buy, you know, don't Ryan, don't sit on 10 units because and you're going to manage that thing yourself. You're going to buy a job basically, right?
Yeah.
And so what do you want to do? But like, I guess you could ask yourself, what do you want to do day to day? Do you want to go manage a property, or do you want to be a multifamily investor, right? Do you want to buy them and scale? So that's how I would start. You know, if you start with 10, have your plan that you want to have 1,000 in that market, right? So, and that's why we start with 40, because that gives enough meat, or I guess, what would you say? It gives enough room to put a property manager in place. You can budget for that. And that's what we want to do. We want to put, Carolyn's going to talk next, but we want to put property management in place because we want to scale. Our goal is 1,000 units by July. There's no way we could run our own deals. So, it's your own thing, man. What do you want your goal to be? You know, by the end of next year, where do you want to be? Do you want to be running a 15 unit in your backyard, or do you want to be at 1,000 units? That's my answer.
So also why we like to focus on 40 and up, I think there's a little significant sweet spot between 40 and maybe 150 units to where you can actually have more of a direct to seller relationship where you're able to leverage seller finance or creative finance options a little bit easier versus the bigger major deals. Not to say that's not possible, because it definitely is. You can assume loans and work things out, but you're going to be able to leverage those relationships direct to seller a lot easier within that range. And kind of going back to working on a 10 to 30 unit, yeah, it all boils down to your goals. But I mean, there could be a little bit of loophole there of maybe you want to turn it into like a boutique hotel. Maybe you want to run it as Airbnbs where it's pumping in a lot more money. Potentially that could justify having a property manager to where you're taken out of that business. That's an option, but you really have to sit down and assess your goals and where do you want to be. So that's my 2 cents.
Perfect.
Yes.
A. Stein says, I talked to a broker today that sent info on a C class asking 12.4 million, NOI 240,000, or it's a 2 cap, meaning 2% cap rate. The pro forma was 11.5 and a 6 cap. How does this make sense? Short answer is it doesn't.
Does not.
This is a prime example of one of two things. Either this broker and or wholesaler, whoever it may actually be, doesn't know what they're doing and they just sent it to you. Or they're just trying to get the deal. They're just trying to make the sell. They're serving it up like, hey, look at this deal. It's nice and pretty. Come get it, right? Brokers, not all of them, but there are brokers out there that will just say whatever they got to say to get you to buy the deal. And this is a prime example of either that or the first thing I said. So no, this does not make sense. When buying a property, your entry cap rate should be higher than your selling cap rate. So if you're buying at a 2 cap, which is non-existent, then you have to be selling it at lower than that. So a 6 cap is way higher. So in reality, you should buy probably around, if the pro forma, meaning the pro forma is the projected amounts, it's your future, it's your ARV, what can I bring it to, is 11.5 and a 6 cap, I mean, you should probably be buying at maybe like a 6.5 or somewhere near there, so you can add the value and make the property nicer and sell at a 6. So run away from this one. It doesn't make sense. Or find out if they'll go lower than that. They got to go way lower than that.
Fina says, I think you meant to say that the other way.
Same. That's exactly what I thought.
What?
That he had his numbers backwards.
Oh, yeah, him. Definitely. Okay.
But I wouldn't be thinking about, depending on where it is, I wouldn't think about selling something at a two cap right now. Anyway.
Yeah, he's crazy. Okay.
Bo, you're being funny. I've been blocking the little Tinder bots that are trickling into this side chat every now and again. So
I thought I saw something out there, man.
I was like, block, get out of here.
That's how you know you made it, is when you have chat
this
bots
ain't the room. Go get your bag somewhere else. This ain't the room.
That's so funny. So funny. Here we go. Tyler Snyder says, does every deal that y'all buy work for pet fees, parking fees / internet cable? Carolyn, Myron, y'all want to take this one?
Does every single deal that y'all buy work for pet fees, parking fees, internet, and cable? I'd say right now we're focusing a lot on value add Class C properties to where, yes, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for, are they charging pet rent? What's the parking situation like? Can we charge for spots? Are there smart home features? Is there internet and cable packages? All these things. So yes, just every single deal that I think they have a variety of different value add items that we can bring to the table for these deals. They're not all the same every single time, but yes, those are the primary ones that or a lot of the same ones that we look for in every deal.
I don't know if y'all caught that, but Carolyn was talking about the smart home features. That's another value add that we've come across, is charging for smart home features on your apartment, like the Ring doorbell and the remote controlled AC and the Wi-Fi stuff, all that. There was the apartment unit that we looked at. They were charging $25 a month for that, and like a $30 or $50 installation fee. And then when they move out, the apartment gets all the equipment back, and then they uninstall it and then go and do it again for the next one. So there's all kinds of ways to add value to a property. You could also have a relationship with an internet provider, and every time that you have someone sign up with that specific internet provider, you can get commissions on the back end for it too. There's all kinds of opportunities out there. Joseph Hernandez says, how much money do you need to start? Great question. Oscar, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. I think this is a common myth that you need millions of dollars to start in multifamily. And I'll give you our example, Joseph, not our Joseph, but Joseph Hernandez. When we first started real estate, we thought that the gateway into real estate to get to multifamily was to start in single family first. We thought that we had to start there in order for us to level up to be able to get to multifamily eventually. In our projection, this is funny looking at it now, but in our projection is we start in the first 5 years, we were going to focus on single family only. After the 5th year, we were then going to start holding properties. This is all just fix and flip, active income, wholesaling, that kind of stuff. At the 5th year mark, we were going to start holding properties. And then after we got to the 10-year mark, we were then going to get into multifamily because that's when we thought we would be ready by that time. We thought we'd have the money, the experience, the level up. That's the progression. That's what we thought. But going back now, Myron, Carolyn, Joseph, if you guys could go back and go straight into multifamily, would you guys do that now, knowing what you know?
Yes.
Absolutely. I remember even like showing up to Pace's preliminary multifamily Zooms, and I was just like, what if we did this? What if we did this? And then, you get kind of distracted and like, yeah, you got to do the single family thing and you got to get your shit straight there before you go into multifamily. Anyway, we're here now. That's what matters.
Exactly.
The first time I saw a T12, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what the hell does that mean? All the numbers, it was like a sea of just like SpaghettiOs, man. It was just like crazy. Alphabet cereal, man. It was all like, what is this thing? It scared. It was like, I don't even like. I got really overwhelmed. But then it was like almost like something clicked, right? When you see that spreadsheet, something clicks, and you're like, oh, this is like the story of the property, basically. If you get a good one, not on the back of a napkin with barbecue sauce on it, but once it clicked, man, it was we can tell which are good ones and which are decent ones and which are bad ones. Who has this? It's really depending on the operator, right? But Joseph, money to start. I mean, there are a lot of operators out there right now that don't put any money into their deals. If you're smart, you do, but a lot of them don't. Just go raise the money.
Right. And if you have a good deal,
talk to a loan lender.
If you have a good deal, the money will come.
100%.
Yep.
So the answer is you don't need any. You need grit and determination.
You don't need any money to start single family, and you don't need any money to start multifamily.
Yeah.
However, you are starting in the right path. You need to be in the right rooms, which you are.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you surround yourself with the right people and get in the right rooms.
This is a good question. Are returns to investors subject to change from the beginning when they are presented the slide deck? The answer is yes, they are. They are subject to change because what you're presenting in the slide deck is your pro forma. This is your business plan. This is what I plan to do to the property. And these are the expected returns that we're going to get from doing X, Y, and Z. So yes, things happen, right? Unexpected things happen. So yes, the returns and the numbers can definitely change, but that's why a smart investor, and we are smart investors, we want to make sure that we under promise and over deliver. So we're going to write extremely conservatively. We're going to hold back some of the value add that we plan to put into the property on our numbers that we present to investors. So if one or two things happens, let's say if what we planned on doesn't happen and things go a little bad, we're still okay. Maybe it doesn't, we don't take quite as big a hit. Maybe it goes slightly below instead of a whole 2 or 3% on return below, right? Or the other option, which is what we expect to happen or plan to happen, our returns are going to be way better than what we told them they were going to be. We're planning, for example, we're going in 8.3% year one on cash. That's extremely conservative. That's only rents. That's not including any other additional value add like pets, parking, pest, internet. None of that is incorporated into that pro forma plan. So when we do incorporate all that, our returns are going to be closer to like 10 or 11% on year one. And that's a huge difference. And they're going to be happy and come back and invest with us when we give them their money back.
Joseph, did you say 8.3?
Yeah.
Is that year one?
Year one.
So you're telling me that our investors are going to get 8.3% on their money year one?
Year one.
How much do you get on like a self-directed IRA? Or do you get returns on that?
Well, if it's self-directed, it's whatever you put it in. But if it's a regular IRA, you do get returns on it, and it just depends on what they're investing in for you. They'll give you a projected, but then it's subject to change based on what's happening in the market. So any investment ever, anywhere, no matter what you're investing on, is always subject to change.
Sure. And 401ks, Not even close, right? I think some people are losing money in 401ks.
I mean, put it this way, Myron, they're losing money in 401ks. What about a savings account? Are they making any money there?
They're making like 0.5%, but I mean, you talk about inflation taking your money, right?
Yep. Crazy.
Joseph is doing the robot. Or there he goes.
Yeah, his Wi-Fi is going out a little bit.
Joseph's in the Matrix right now.
Is he?
All right, where do we lay you off on?
Or we need a question person.
I can't find the last one. There's a lot of questions in the chat.
God, we should have been prepared.
Here's one. There he is.
Sorry, guys. I'm back. What did y'all hear? I don't know what happened.
Oh.
I think we were just talking about the IRA and how it's subject to change, but I think we're good, bro.
Perfect.
So Andres says, my wife is in data analytics. How do I plug her in? Like to be an underwriter? What do you think that means, right? How to learn underwriting? There's a lot of underwriting mentorships out there that you could look up. We are doing an underwriting Zoom on Friday at 12 Central.
Yep.
So I wanted to say that slowly so you could write it down. Go to our Facebook group, $1 million Upside. Join our Facebook group, and we're going to send the Zoom link in there. And so you'll be able to join Joseph and basically our whole team on underwriting.
Actually, you can go to this link right here.
Oh, shoot, you're right.
Do that little cute thing.
If you're on our YouTube, which you should be, go to jbmlegacy.com and sign up. God dang.
Girl, get out of here.
jbmlegacy.com, you can register for our Zoom, and we'll send you either a text or a email, however it works.
My bad, y'all. I'm trying to get these ladies to their other date night that they're going to. It's not here. This is a whole other side of MF. We're not talking that kind of MF.
You know, it's a thing that just keeps occurring. You don't remember that Zoom?
Oh,
for
I
those
remember
of y'all that
that
have been
Zoom.
following for a while, y'all remember the Zoom.
If you were there for that Zoom.
If you were one of the OGs, you remember.
Yeah, if you were one of the OGs that saw that Zoom, then you know what we're talking about. Put a fire in the chat. Let's go. I want to see. I want to see if you was there that night. Bo, he said, I saw that. Can you DM me a link to the recording? Harry put a 1. I'm going to say he was there. He was there that night.
Eggplant emoji if you were there. Just kidding.
I know. All right, let me figure out where we were again.
I think we can probably take like 1 or 2 more questions.
Wait, I got a lot of questions in here.
I know.
Okay, that was that. One sec.
Get us a good one.
I just got back from a bingo for boobies charity event. Enough is enough. LOL. Who said that?
Oh, man.
I wish Facebook users would show up with their names.
I know. There you go. How do we make sure the financials the broker sends us are accurate and aren't covered up? Good question, man. The honest answer is you can't. You just ask questions. You just got to ask questions.
Yeah.
And where you see potential problem areas, ask more questions. When an answer doesn't quite make sense, ask more questions. When you feel something's off, ask more questions. And until they say something that, they slip up. I mean, it's really hard to maintain a lie. It's easy to lie once. It's hard to maintain a lie. So
we went to Joseph and I went down, or he lives in Houston, but I went down to Houston. We did a walkthrough and we printed out the P&L. Yeah, we printed out the P&L and we're asking them, what is this? I think it was the water charge or something like that. And they're like, I don't know what that is. I'm like, well, you guys sent me this P&L. I'm like, that's not the wrong. It ended up being the wrong complex. They sent us the P&L for the wrong property. And so how do we make sure the financials and brokers send us accurate, right? If we went to the owner and the broker and started asking questions. So we had the complete wrong information. And so to Joseph's point, he's exactly right. Start asking those questions, man.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah. You know what the guy was doing is he was trying to mitigate taxes. So he was spreading all his expenses across all his properties.
Oh, that's right.
So he was trying to be a shyster.
This girl over here is trying to be a shyster. Making 20 different Tinder accounts.
My goodness.
It is the best adult dating site. So.
Oh, is it? You want to go sleep at that Class C over there?
Stay tuned if you want to see
family fight night over here.
Or are you looking for a Class D? Maybe she is.
Don't be surprised if you don't see Myra on the next live.
That's hilarious.
He loves my jokes. Just saying, he loves my jokes.
What are the pros and cons of an equity partner versus a private money lender? That's a good question, though. That's a good question. Y'all want to take this one, or you want me to take it?
I'm still cracking up, man.
All right.
Equity partner is someone, Bo, you're going to come on, you're going to bring us $100,000. You're going to be equity partner in our deal. You're going to get cash flow. And when we sell, you're going to get part of the equity part of the exit, your percentage. However, if you just lend me some money as a private money lender, I'm going to burn rubber and pay you off as quick as I can. Right. So sorry, if I can pay you off in 1 year, I mean, that would be your only returns. Maybe you get 12% of that year, but at the exit, you're going to miss that exit, man. So good question, Bo. Private money lenders, we can work those into the deal, but really, I think our philosophy is to do more with more people. And so we'd love to talk to people that want to be equity partners.
Yeah. Because then they're becoming a partner of ours and we're not having to pay them extra money. They're just getting a cut of whatever the deal is making.
By the way, guys, if you want to talk to us about opportunities like that, do we have a link that they can register so they can talk to me and Myron about those types of opportunities?
Yes. Uno momento.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I think it's just opportunities.jbmlegacy.com.
Is it? Oh, that's hot. Okay, let me try it.
Or you could just go to jbmlegacy.com and click on that specific link.
OMG, that is so amazing.
Yeah, you can talk to Myra and myself. We'll talk to you guys about those opportunities and how you can be part in the future as well.
Baller.
Eddie Babs, what is the best way to underwrite a multi-use 12-unit apartment building, 100 storage unit, 3 houses, and a few mobile home lots? Is it the same as underwriting a multi-unit apartment complex? So this depends, right? If these are all separate parcels, or like Oscar likes to say, parcels,
It's because we say Marcel. We don't say Marcel. We say Marcel.
Nice.
Nah, but for real. If they're on separate parcels, like they're their own individual addresses and property, then I would underwrite them individually, because the apartment building and the storage units, those would be underwritten the same. Instead of tenants for the apartment building, you have tenants for the storage unit, which they're just storing their stuff there. Those are underwritten the same way. But the houses and the mobile home lots, that would be underwritten differently, because it's a single family property. So you can include all of that together. You can include all that together into the total price, but I personally would want to underwrite them individually and have them as separate parcels. If it's all one lot together, personally, I wouldn't even know how to underwrite that. I would do it the way I just said and just kind of put it all together and sell it as one portfolio.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If it's all like in a complex, all like the same area. But if you have like 3 houses in a different city and a few mobile homes in a different city, you have to comp those as they are. But what I see a lot of people are doing with portfolios is they will wrap it all up with one cap rate, right? They'll try to sell the whole thing at a 5 cap or a 4 cap, depending where it is, Eddie. But 12-unit apartment building, 100 storage units, 3 houses, a few mobile home lots. It's like they kind of took all the stuff they didn't want and threw it in a deal. All I can say is get it on seller finance.
Seller finance. What else? Anything else we got here?
Man, we have like less than 30 minutes, guys. There's a ton of questions still in the chat.
What is up with tonight?
Let's start plowing through them.
We've had our most viewers ever tonight, I think.
Yeah, for a Monday, definitely.
For a Monday.
I have a lead for 4.8 million, 37 units direct to agent. Gross income is $87K a month. They have multiple offers, which is the best way to present seller financing. So first, I would want to get the actual financials, because right now you have gross income and you don't know what their expenses are. And that's per month. You want to see it annualized, right? So I would ask for a T12 and a rent roll before I did any kind of negotiating. But I would also ask, are they open to seller financing? That's why we like multifamily. You can just ask them, like, don't overthink it. Just ask them, hey, is the seller open to seller financing?
Yeah.
No? Okay, why not? Yes? Okay, great. Can we hop on a phone to talk with them after I get these financials? Simple as that. Don't overthink it. I promise. All right, Ryan. How much rehab are you guys willing to do right now? I spoke to a broker today about a deal where half of the units are mid-rehab and need floors. What would your approach be? Okay. So how much rehab? I would say we'd be willing to do the whole property, but the caveat is, what type of rehab is it? Like, is this a full gut job where you have to replace everything and like essentially start from the studs up? Because if so, that's not something we would want to do. Now, if it's just coming in, fixing, remodeling it, making it look clean, that would be something more of what we're trying to do. Because none of us are GCs or have a GC background. All right, what do you guys think?
I'm with you. Just find out how much they're budgeting per unit and what kind of actual rehab needs to be done, and approach it from there. Same.
This one's tough because it says half of the units are mid rehab, right?
What is half? Like,
why did it stop? Questions, guys, questions.
Context.
Half of the units are mid rehab, so that means 50% vacant. And so you're going to have to, that's a hard play, is like getting, as your NOI is super low. That better be a steal, Ryan. You better be getting a baller of a deal on that one. Cause you're, depending on how much they want, you're not going to be making any money for a while. That's my thought.
He says half are finished, but still, meaning like you're still.
Glass is
the other half are not.
Good job, buddy. You're right. I see.
Ooh, that sounds like distress to me.
Distress. Seller finance.
Let's call the broker tomorrow.
Yeah, let's call them.
Distressed seller?
Let's go.
Call Meyer and Bradley for seller finance.
Front and back T-shirt.
He's going to
Ryan,
be on a
it's
billboard.
a little scary because I don't even know, like, on new builds, right? I don't know many operators that buy at half occupancy. How many operators are buying at half occupancy? They wait till it gets closer to like 70 or so.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a, what do you call that? A hiccup or something? I don't know. Shouldn't have vacated half the complex.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's good. They must have been really confident in their abilities. Yeah. But typically, we want to see at least 80% occupancy or higher. That's our box.
A flood, a fire, something happened, and so insurance maybe helping take care of something.
Yeah. All right, Joel. I've seen you ask this one a couple times. When it passes the underwriting, what are some indicators this won't be a good deal or red flags not to buy, like deferred maintenance? First off, you should be looking for reasons to buy it, not reasons not to buy it. And short answer is it's all based on the underwriting. Does it cash flow day one? Are the returns for your investors good? And then, Oscar, what was the third one? Man, I can't remember what the third one is.
Return of investors are good. You're talking about for us, like napkin underwriting?
Yeah.
Did you say terms or let me see if it passes up indicators like deferred maintenance? Cash on cash and the
like for us, what do we want to see in a deal every time? If it meets these criteria, man, I can't remember what the third one is.
Is it the loan assumption?
No, it wasn't that. But so you want it to pass your underwriting first off, right? You need it to cash flow on day one. That's just something we want to see, that we know it's a good deal if it cash flows on day one and our returns for our investors are still good. Those are the two most important things. There's one other thing.
Like flood zone, crime rate, things like that.
Yeah, those would be things that I wouldn't want to buy in, right? Figure out what the demographics of the area. What are your tenants like? What is your tenant base going to be? Are they going to be good tenants? Or are they going to be drug dealing tenants? You got to figure this stuff out. Who is going to be living at those apartments? Because those are the people you're going to be having to deal with.
Yeah, like what kind of, Oscar always asks this question. I'm always like, oh yeah, we should be asking this question, is what's the tenant base? Like, Is it factory workers? Is it fast food workers? Like, just kind of what do you see? Like, what a smart question, because it helps determine the stability of your tenants. Like, dang, love it.
I got a statement here. I love multifamily investing. Seems like LPs are the way to go, though. GPs don't make much until the dispo. Even then, that could be less than a thin GP split. So you're absolutely right. But as a GP, you can also invest in your deal as well on the LP side and get paid on both ends. And you get paid as an acquisition fee. Go ahead, Myron.
Yes, David, you're right. If you have some money, put it into a deal. However, I just one thought that I'm having is I can operate many properties and have many units with no money in and be getting cash flow. I want to put money into my own deals, but as an LP, your money can run out, right? Unless you're like cycling perfectly on how you're doing things. But I think the goal is to do LP, figure it out, how it goes. Maybe not exactly our story here, but a lot of people start with LP, figure out how things operate, and they start operating their own deals. Anyway,
all right, I'm gonna plow through a couple of these questions here real quick.
Good.
Joelle, even on the GP side or learner GP side, do we get tax deductions? Yes. If you have equity in the deal, you get that percentage of tax deductions. All right. If we are working with sponsors for now, do we need an LLC? Yes. When you're closing on the deal, there will be, when you're talking with the attorney, you will have to form an LLC. Either you'll form a brand new one if you don't have one, or you'll use the one you have and place it into a holding LLC. Consult your attorney. There was another one. Do you look on Crexi for potential deals? Absolutely. And LoopNet as well. We also use those websites to reach out directly to the brokers and then have them send us deals off market.
What I think is cool, real quick on, sorry, Carolyn.
Yeah, you're good.
No, I was just going to say, yes, we definitely look on Crexi and LoopNet. I know a lot of people joke that those are where deals go to die, but those are where we get our creative finance deals. So
I've seen
you lose.
sellers, like direct sellers, putting their properties on Crexi before, by the way.
I just want to point this one out. That's pretty funny. They're jealous that your matchmaker Zoom gets more hits. That's hilarious. I'm about to tell KJ that one. Okay, as a new LP, what are reasonable returns to expect in terms of AER, IRR, and cash on cash? The OM I recently reviewed had a 5.7 to 7.9 cash on cash over the 5-year course. This is a loaded question. Which one of y'all wants to take it?
I think that's an Oscar question.
I wouldn't focus so much on yes, AR and IRR are important. IRR is typically something like the standard I've seen is like 14% IRR.
For both of them.
Yeah, for both of them. And the cash on cash is really what, as an LP, is what most of our investors are looking for, right? They just want to know what's my return on my money. That's it. And so the OM that you recently reviewed had a 5.7 to 7.9% cash on cash. That's not that bad. It's actually pretty good over the course of 5 years. We've seen some that are in the low fours and maybe all the way to like high fives in the year 1 through 5, or even a little bit longer than that. And the returns are a lot smaller or less, right? Our deal year 1, as Joseph was saying earlier, Iffy, is 8.3% cash on cash year 1. Average is 12% throughout the whole 5 years that we're holding the deal. So it really depends on the deal itself, the asset class. That's probably the most important thing, is the asset class. And what you are expecting as well as an investor. Like, hey, I'd like to see this type of return. Right. And in most cases, what it really comes down to is when you're investing in a deal, you're not really investing so much in the deal itself, but you're investing in the operators, because those are the people who have to perform and get you that cash on cash return. So when you look at it that way, you want to make sure that you're putting your money in a place that you can, that you have a relationship with those people, their work ethic, what they do, and they're going to deliver. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. If this is a class A or B, great returns. If it's a class C, a little bit on the lower on what we look for, but it's not bad. Okay, there was one right here. That's a good one. Are looking into multifamily where you may rent to a Section 8 tenant or other government-supported programs. I think she's asking if we do that. You guys want to answer that one?
We are not currently. Oh, Myron, you got some words?
No, Oscar is calling me out.
Yeah.
My opinion is no. There are other operators that's all they want, because I'm going to talk positively as much as I can. Section 8 is pretty much guaranteed, right?
Yes.
But there's limitations on what you can do to raise rents. You'd have to like add a bedroom to basically up your rent, right? Because they pay by the bedroom, and it works for certain types of investors. It works for certain types of buyers. The way we are, the what would you call that? The season that we're in right now, this is not what we're looking to do. We want to raise rents. That's all we talk about are pet fees. We talk about pet fees like pretty much all day long. So Section 8 for us does not fit, but I believe as we get more seasoned, we're going to look at these types of things, because we're going to look for these tax. We might buy that 2-cap deal from Austin. We got to land some money, dude.
Yeah, it's a different strategy.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a different strategy. That's all it is. And that's not the strategy we're doing.
Yep.
Braulio, when do you go past the broker and get in touch with the seller? And how does this affect your relationship with the broker? Carolyn, that's all
Carolyn,
you.
that's you, Carolyn.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Be ethical, bring value. Like, that is only going to show your rapport and your relationship with the broker. No, like, the more you establish that rapport and relationship with the broker, you should not be having to go around them. Think of it if it were flipped onto you. You wouldn't want someone going around you to go talk to your seller. So no, don't go around the broker.
And then one last thing on that. Remember, I've always said this before, but single family space in real estate is pretty small. People know each other. But in the multifamily space, it's even smaller. People know each other. They hear about everything. Deals get run across everyone's desk. And
use
so
that example from earlier from Tyler. He's got sent a deal that he knows we walked. And that was what, last week? 2 weeks ago? Week and a half? Something like that?
Yep.
People know people.
Mm-hmm.
What works for us, though, is have the broker get the seller on the phone at like a conference call. And that's how we got our deal in Tennessee. Is we were able to go directly to him, because I don't know how to say this. I hope there's not too many brokers in the chat, but sellers are very smart and they understand investing way better than us, way better than brokers. There are some unicorn brokers out there, but just get the broker to get the seller. Have the broker get the seller on the call with you.
Yes, for sure. Let's do a follow-up here for that question really quick.
Yeah.
Okay, he says, I didn't mean it like that. I mean, when is it ready to talk to the seller? Sorry. I mean, that's really just like, it's a deal by deal thing. Like, you need to establish that with the broker. Like, even setting up a meeting with the broker and the seller, yes, but even before that, set up a meeting with the broker themselves. Like, have a meeting with them, get them to meet you, your team, whoever, and understand like your goals and your mission. And like, it brings so much more solidification to that relationship if you're able to have that type of open communication where you're not just calling them, you're meeting them. They're going to be much more open and understanding to want to work with you and bring the seller into the mix and everything like that. So yeah. Any other thoughts on that?
No.
I think you guys covered it.
Yeah.
10 minutes, Joseph. Let's do it.
Yeah, there's only two more questions, I think. Where did they go? Just saw it. Here's one of them. When do you ask?
This is from Jose, by the way.
Jose says, what do you ask of the property manager when qualifying tenants, higher credit/income? Do you always change it to your set standards uniform with the rest of the properties acquired or according to area? So I would say it is more so based on the deal, right? You're not going to have the same regulations with the Class C property as you would with the Class A property, right? Typically in Class A, you're going to want higher incoming tenants. Those are going to be your potential middle class or high figure earners. You're not going to see a lot of low income people in your Class A buildings. You can. It's just the commonality of what you see. For us, we don't mind as long as the property manager has a good track record of previous properties that they've run. We kind of let them run with it. And as long as they're hitting our desired numbers, that's really, as long as they're following our business plan of what we've underwritten, that's really what's important to us. Yes, we'll step in if we have to. But for the most part, I mean, that's what their job is. They're the property manager. We don't want to manage the property. So as long as they are actually maintaining our standards of what we want them to do and hitting those numbers and getting good reviews on Google and not getting trash talked a lot, then I mean it's kind of their show. You know what I mean? I mean, what do you guys think? Do y'all agree with that?
I agree. Yeah, bro. I think you covered all of it there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Love it.
Okay. If they are open to seller financing, is it typically a second position? Now, that is a great question, and it does depend if there is another loan in place. For example, our deal currently that we've been talking about, the one in Tennessee, is complete seller financing. There's no other loan in place. The seller owned it completely, owned it free and clear, and he seller financed it to us, paid a down payment, and he's the only one that has any kind of loan or lien against the property. Now, there's other deals that we've looked at that would be kind of like a hybrid deal, and they have an assumable loan on the property, which if you're from the creative financing space, that would be equivalent to a subject to. So they already have a loan in place. We're going to assume that loan. And then if we were going to do a hybrid and then they seller finance that remaining equity, yes, that seller would have their loan, their seller financing portion in second position because the first loan that they had previously is already in first. So it just depends on the deal.
And I'm going to add to that, Joseph, on that question. If there is a first position already on there, say it's a loan from a lender right now, the lender will also have to approve if there can be a second position lien on that property.
Yes, that's true.
So make sure you check with the lender before you entertain that route as well.
Yeah. In multifamily, your lenders are much more involved. Much more involved. It's not just, hey, here's the loan. As long as you pay me, you're good. No, they are much more involved. They will if it's commercial tenants, they'll make sure some of them will have to sign off and approve the commercial tenants. Like they're involved. They are. Man, I lost my question.
All right.
There was one more. There you go. A broker offered me she could be a property manager and also a project manager. What do we need to look for in them? Track record. I would want to see a track record. What are the previous properties you've done? Are they still operational? Let's go and see them. Can I see, a T12 on the property? They probably won't give you that, but you could try. I would want to see a track record. Prove to me that you've already been doing this, and then let's have an interview. But I've never seen that. But it's not impossible. People wear many hats. Okay, I think that was it.
Myron, we can't hear you.
You're muted, babe.
Sorry, I was sitting there like talking. I'm sorry.
I like hear him in the other room. I'm like, no, babe, no one can hear you.
Oscar and I met an amazing property manager who was also a project manager who did just damn near everything, broker, property management, project. Very impressed with that team. So, Joel, if you have somebody that's like that, I would try to get a little bit closer to them and see what they're doing. Just everything that Joseph is saying, because they're probably outperforming a lot of other people. That's my biased opinion.
It's a good opinion. Definitely. Yeah, it's unheard. That's your unicorn broker that Myron was talking about earlier. For real, man. Well, summed it up right there.
What a ride.
I think that was a great one to get the job done, guys. If there's no more questions, I think that's a wrap.
That is a wrap. We did it. Almost 2 hours with y'all. This was our highest viewed live, one of the highest viewed lives. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Yeah. And for those of you guys that are watching from Facebook, I know there's not a lot now, but a lot of the chat that's going on is in the YouTube. So, and there's a lot of interaction going on in there. So to get the most value you can from these, I would try signing on through the YouTube so you can communicate and talk with all the other people in there. And from experience, that's where I have met a lot of people that I've done business with in the future, different partners on deals, private money lenders. There's quite often we have brokers in the chat that you can go and talk to. We had freaking Vina Jetty in the chat too. Like if you were not in the chat, you missed out on that. Like, so I strongly recommend that you go watch through the YouTube. You don't have to subscribe.
No, you do. You do, Joseph. You do.
But that's where I would be. If you're watching these, I would go through there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So many YouTubers tonight. We love it.
Hold on, I got to do an Instagram.
Do it.
I cannot believe I didn't do
it. Kalimba?
Yeah.
I did one. I think Oscar did one. KJ did one. Y'all, thank you so much. We're going to be doing our underwriting Zoom on Friday. You're going to be getting a notice, a text blast about that if you signed up on our website. What else? We're going to be doing a matchmaker Zoom in November, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, Olga and Bo, for saying smash the like button, promoting us. If you find value from this, please share and sub to in our Facebook group, on Instagram, everything. It means so much to us that you guys show up and ask all these amazing questions. This is like such a learning experience for all of us still. Like we are learning in live time, and we are learning even faster just because you guys are like chiming in and asking all these amazing questions, and it just fuels all the growth. So you guys are growing right along with us.
Birthday bash. Birthday bash.
Oh, the birthday bash. The birthday bash will be on October 30th at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Central. We're going to be we'll send out like a special blast for that too. We'll make a little flyer for that, but that is coming up this Sunday. It is Oscar's 21st birthday.
Yay!
JK. He'll reveal his name.
We're all going to be in the same room.
I know. I'm
already be in the same room.
We're
all piled into that little room Oscar's in right there, sitting on the couch.
I call the couch.
Love it. We're gonna have a little Halloween spirit going on. Anything else? What else am I missing, you guys? Any updates?
We said the live on Friday.
The live.
Y'all meet
link in the chat again.
Yes, we have a meetup tomorrow. Okay, hold on. For y'all in DFW. Oh my gosh. Let me see if I can find it quickly.
Thank you, Lucky. Appreciate you.
I can't find it quickly.
Oh, see you there, Jabs, tomorrow.
Yes, we'll see you, Jabs.
Carolyn,
What, babe?
you just want the Eventbrite?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me 1
Oh,
second.
it's like I got it ready to go.
We'll post it in the Facebook, the $1 Million Upside, the Facebook group too, just in case. But yeah, it should be really fun. Vina is going to be there. So lots of exciting things to come. Thank you so much, y'all.
Cool.
Love all these
Appreciate you all.
See you
Appreciate
guys.
you all.
Good night.
See you later this week. Bye, guys. Keep crushing it.